Today's hot ballroom dance topic: the pros and cons of the big giant comps and the little tiny comps. And this is subjective, guys. It's my own opinion, my own experience. Please comment below with your 2 cents on this topic, because we would all love to hear from you. Ultimately, I am but one ballroom dancer in a literal world of ballroom dancers. Okay, so number one, I like at the big comps that there are many more competitors on the floor with you. You are more likely to be contested in any given division. Particularly for those male prems, it's a tough row because there's not that many of them. And in my opinion, hey, I personally, when I'm competing, I could care less when I'm pro as a prem, but when I'm competing as a professional or when I was an amateur dancer, I would have rather placed last in a sea of 50 couples than first out of one. But that's me. Any opportunity to compete is going to be a win, and you're going to learn a ton. I mean, I personally think each comp is worth like at least 10 private lessons, not an exaggeration, whether you're amateur or pro-am. Okay, number 2, I personally feel, and I am summarizing everything in a nutshell here. All comps are different, but I feel the customer service is better at those small comps. And here's my theory as to why. If you are one of, say, 40 competitors that show up to, say, a little unsanctioned comp, you are important and you are valuable to that organizer. They will know you by name. They will say hi to you and smile at you, and you will actually exist as a human being. I find at these large comps, unless you're competing in the open pro, that's the only exception. They could care less about you. Again, I am speaking on very general terms here. There's always an exception, and I have been to many good sanctioned big comps, but overall, this is what I have seen in my area of the world. Unfortunately, when you do go to that big comp, and the downside of competing, with 1,000 other competitors there, is you are but one of 1,000 competitors. Like, if you disappear and you don't show up to your event, no one's probably going to even notice except the floor captain. You're in a little tiny comp and you no-show, they're probably going to be on the horn to you. Hey, everything okay? Are you coming? Did you know you're on the floor today? Can we reschedule you? Good luck getting rescheduled if you miss your heat or your flight at a giant comp. Not going to happen. But I've seen it happen many times with those little comps. So in my opinion, in my experience, there's generally better customer service there. Okay, so next up, I really like that the large competitions just have the deep pockets because of all those entries to be able to bring in a diverse judging panel. And I would say that was a lot more important to me when I was competing in the Open Pro or Championship level amateur than really any other level that's not so important. But I do, as someone that specialized in standard myself, I really appreciated being marked by people who were retired standard professional dancers. And just there's a limited number of people willing to judge. So any comp at any level, if you're at the championship level, going to be judged by people that are not as good as you. I am not for 1 second saying they aren't qualified. All the pros probably know all the dances, and they probably have an exceptionally good eye. Because did I ever compete in Blackpool Latin? No, but I've seen it a bajillion times, so I'm not saying they're incompetent. I just say for me personally, I appreciate that I'm not going to, show up to that big comp and probably have a panel that's the entire panel is only competed in American rhythm or whatever, or maybe not competed at all. So, I do like that about the big comps. Again, if you're competing, syllabus, amateur, or prem, that really doesn't matter. Any opportunity to compete is a win, and you will get a ton out of it. Okay, next up. It's not personally a pull for me, but it is a very appealing factor to many competitors that those big comps have a substantial production value. So you go to these little comps, you know what? It's not going to be in the nicest hotel in the state, and it's not going to have that elaborate special effects theater lighting, with 10 spotlights and bells and whistles and smoke and lasers, And so you're going to probably be able to get a little bit better pictures at that big comp. And you know what, even at the big comp, if you're not contested, you're going to be on the floor with other people. So it'll give the illusion that you're competing legitimately if you're just there to put pretty pictures on Facebook, even though you might be on the floor with people in 10 different divisions. Okay, so next up. I personally never did the small comps as a pro. I have done them as a pro-am, where I'm the pro. I've also done them as an amateur student, even through the championship level, guys. And unless you want an easy pro title to win, say, hey, I won the championship level, the students don't know. It could be a tiny comp of nowhere. Those are actually pretty relatively easy to win, because if there are pros competing there, a lot of them are just going to come from those local chain studios, and those people are really easy to beat if you're, you've gone through the open championship level as an amateur and not in that closed studio chain system. But anyway, any floor experience is awesome, guys. So I hope nothing I've said has dissuaded you from trying either one of those comps. And whichever one is best for you, great. I'm just sharing kind of what I enjoy. I'm a very shy person. I don't like being in that giant hotel personally with a sea of people. How are you doing today? What have you been up to? What events are you in? And I've got a lot of friends there, and they all want to talk to me, and I really just want to focus on my students. So in that regard, I do like the small comps too, but that's me. I'd love to hear your story as well. So comment below, and hey, if you like all things ballroom dance, we hit different little ballroom topics every day. So join us tomorrow for a different one. And if you like that, hit the subscribe button. So thanks for joining me. Have an awesome day. Happy dancing.